Have you ever wondered why some people transform their lives completely, while others keep struggling, even though they work just as hard? The secret isn't hidden in massive, overnight changes. It lies in the smallest, simplest actions that we repeat every single day. Think about it. Your life today is nothing but the reflection of the little choices you've been making for years. And if you could just change those small actions, you could completely rewrite your destiny. 1. Today, we're diving into the life-changing lessons from the book Small Actions, Great Results. This isn't just another self-help idea. It's a proven blueprint for creating unstoppable momentum in your life. In this book, you'll discover how habits shape your identity, how tiny steps compound into extraordinary achievements, and how you can finally break free from the cycle of bad patterns holding you back. Imagine if you could wake up every morning with energy, discipline, and focus, without forcing yourself, without burning out, simply by installing powerful habits into your daily routine. That's exactly what this book teaches you. And in this video, I'm going to break down the most powerful lessons so you can start applying them today. So stay with me till the very end of this video, because what you're about to learn has the power to take you from where you are to where you've always dreamed of being. One small action at a time, you'll realize that massive success isn't about giant leaps. It's about consistent steps in the right direction. Every great achievement in history, every breakthrough invention, every inspiring success story started with something small. Think about it. Rome wasn't built in a day, the light bulb wasn't invented overnight, and no athlete became a champion in a single practice. What separated the winners from the rest was not some magical talent, but the ability to take small, deliberate actions consistently over time. Yet most people keep waiting for that one big moment, that one big break, the miracle opportunity that will suddenly change everything. But here's the truth. Your big break isn't going to arrive from the outside. It's going to be built quietly from within, through the little choices you make every single day. The book, Small Actions, Great Results teaches us that habits are the invisible architecture of our lives. Whether you realize it or not, you are running on habits all the time. From the way you brush your teeth, to how you respond to stress, to what you do when you wake up in the morning, it's all habits. The problem is that most of these habits are unconscious. They were shaped by your environment, your upbringing, or your past experiences, and now they run on autopilot. If you don't take control, these small habits will continue to shape your future without your permission. But if you consciously design your habits, if you choose them carefully, then you unlock the power to redesign your entire life. Let's take a simple example. Imagine two people who both want to get healthier. One decides he'll hit the gym for 2 hours every day starting tomorrow, and the other decides to start with just 5 push-ups each morning. Who do you think will stick with it longer? The truth is, the second person, even though his start looks tiny, has a much higher chance of creating lasting change. Why? Because habits are not about intensity. They're about consistency. You don't need to change your life in one giant leap. You need to master the art of small, repeatable actions. That's where greatness is born. The beauty of small actions is that they compound over time, just like money in a bank account. If you deposit a little each day, the interest grows, and before you know it, your wealth multiplies. The same rule applies to your habits. Every small action you take is like making a deposit into the bank of your future. Read one page today, and it doesn't seem like much. But read one page every day for a year, and you've finished an entire library. Save just a little money each day, and within years, you've built financial security. Speak kindly to yourself every morning, and over time, you rewire your mind to become confident and resilient. It's not about what happens in a single day. It's about what happens when those days add up. Tenet. Now you might ask, if small actions are so powerful, why don't most people succeed? The reason is simple. Most people underestimate the value of small changes. Because they don't see instant results, they quit. When you go to the gym once, you don't see muscles. When you eat a salad once, you don't become healthier. When you read for one day, you don't become a genius. And that's why people give up. They think, this isn't working. But what they don't realize is that success is quietly building in the background. Habits are like seeds. You plant them, water them, and nurture them. But for weeks or even months, you may not see anything. Then one day, the roots break through the soil, and suddenly you're surrounded by growth. That's how small actions work. They are invisible at first, but unstoppable later. Think about how powerful this is. You don't need to wait for motivation. You don't need to wait for perfect timing. You just need to start small today. The person you want to become, the healthier you, the wealthier you, the happier you, is built not in giant transformations, but in the quiet discipline of daily habits. You're not just doing actions, you're shaping your identity. Every time you do something positive, you cast a vote for the kind of person you want to be. Do one workout, and you're voting to be a fit person. Save a little money, and you're voting to be financially wise. Write a single page, and you're voting to be a writer. Over time, these votes accumulate, and your identity shifts. You no longer just try to change, you become the change. This is the real secret of small actions, great results. It's not just about doing more, it's about becoming more. When your identity shifts, habits stop being a struggle. A runner doesn't ask, should I go for a run today? It's just who they are. A reader doesn't force themselves to pick up a book. It's simply part of their life. That's the transformation waiting for you when you start small and stay consistent. So the question is, what small action are you willing to start with today? Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait for inspiration. Even if it's as tiny as writing one sentence, drinking one glass of water, meditating for 1 minute, start now. Because once you start, momentum builds. And momentum is the most powerful force in the universe. Here's something to reflect on. When you look at successful people from the outside, it's tempting to think they just had some massive breakthrough, some extraordinary luck, or some kind of talent the rest of us don't have. But when you peel back the curtain, what you'll find isn't magic, it's mastery over the small things. It's the writer who sits down every single day to write a few pages even when inspiration doesn't come. It's the athlete who trains when no one is watching, repeating the same small drills until they become second nature. It's the business person who makes tiny improvements every week, learning from mistakes and adjusting course. In reality, greatness doesn't look like fireworks. It looks like quiet, steady sparks building into a fire. Anton. The problem is that we live in a world addicted to speed. Everyone wants overnight success, instant results, quick fixes. We've been conditioned to chase hacks, shortcuts, and one-size-fits-all solutions. But here's the truth. Shortcuts rarely lead to real transformation. What really works is showing up every day, even in the smallest way. You don't need to do it all. You just need to do something and do it consistently. The weight you carry in your life isn't lifted all at once. It's lifted one small action at a time. Think about it like this. Imagine you're standing at the bottom of a huge mountain and your dream is at the top. Most people look up, feel overwhelmed, and give up before they even take the first step. But the secret isn't in leaping to the top. It's in taking one small step, then another, then another. Each step feels small, almost insignificant. But when you keep moving forward, one day you look back and realize how far you've climbed. That's the power of small actions. They make the impossible possible. Let's bring this closer to daily life. Maybe you want to be healthier, but right now your lifestyle feels completely out of balance. Instead of trying to overhaul everything overnight, diet, exercise, sleep, what if you just started with drinking one extra glass of water a day, or walking for 10 minutes after lunch, or simply choosing to stretch before bed? It doesn't look like much, but over weeks and months it builds momentum. The key is not to aim for perfection, but for progress. Small progress repeated over time becomes unstoppable. Or maybe you want to build financial freedom. The thought of saving huge amounts of money or investing feels intimidating. But what if you just saved a small percentage of every paycheck? What if you started tracking one small expense? These small financial habits may not make you rich overnight, but they lay the foundation for long-term security. Just like a tree that grows slowly but surely, your financial health blossoms with consistent care. Even in relationships, the same principle applies. We often think grand gestures keep love alive, but in reality, it's the small actions. The smile when your partner walks in, the thank you for the little things, the few minutes of undivided attention each day that build strong connections. Big moments may be memorable, but small actions are what sustain love. Now here's the beautiful twist. When you focus on small actions, you stop feeling paralyzed by fear. One of the biggest killers of dreams is overthinking. We wait for the perfect plan, the perfect timing, the perfect circumstances. But perfection doesn't exist, and waiting only wastes time. The magic of small actions is that they're so easy to start, so light to carry, that fear loses its power. You don't need to be fearless to begin. You just need to take one small step, and then the next one will feel easier. And here's something most people overlook. Small actions don't just change your results, they change your self-image. Every time you follow through on something tiny, you build trust with yourself. You prove to yourself that you're capable, that you keep your promises, that you are moving forward. Slowly, your identity shifts. You stop seeing yourself as someone who struggles, and you start seeing yourself as someone who grows. And when your identity changes, your future changes. So the real question isn't, what's the big leap I can take? The real question is, what's the small action I can take today that moves me forward? Because the person who takes one small action daily will always outgrow the person waiting for the perfect big action. You don't need to predict the future. You just need to plant the seeds today, water them tomorrow, and let time do its work. Think for a moment about the way a river carves through rock. At first glance, water looks soft, gentle, and powerless compared to the hardness of stone. But what happens when water flows consistently, drop by drop, day after day, year after year? It creates valleys, canyons, and landscapes so breathtaking we travel across the world to see them. Not because it was powerful in a single moment, but because it never stopped. That's the secret of small actions. They may not look strong today, but given time, they can reshape your entire life. The same truth applies to our habits. Habits are simply repeated actions, and repeated actions shape your destiny. If you wake up each day and commit to just one positive choice, reading a page of a book, writing down a thought of gratitude, doing 5 push-ups, practicing one new word in a language, you may not notice the difference after one day or even 1 week. But look again after 6 months, after a year, after 5 years. You'll be unrecognizable because those small choices stacked up into something extraordinary. The danger is that small actions work both ways. Just as good habits build you up, bad habits tear you down. Skipping one workout seems harmless. Eating one unhealthy meal feels insignificant. Scrolling endlessly on your phone for just 5 minutes doesn't feel like much. But when repeated daily, these small negative actions pile up into a mountain of regret. Success and failure are not built in a day. They are built in the quiet, unnoticed moments when no one is watching. And here lies the most empowering realization. You don't need to overhaul your entire life right now. You just need to master the next small action. That's it. Because every step you take is a vote for the person you are becoming. Do you want to be healthier? Every small healthy choice is a vote. Do you want to be wealthier? Every small saving or smart financial move is a vote. Do you want to be wiser? Every page you read, every idea you reflect on is a vote. Your identity is being shaped by the little things you do repeatedly. Let me share with you a story that captures this perfectly. There was once a young man who wanted to be a writer. Every time he thought about writing a book, he felt overwhelmed. The idea of writing hundreds of pages, creating characters, and weaving a plot seemed impossible. So he kept postponing. One day he decided to change his approach. Instead of focusing on the book, he focused on one small action, writing just 1 paragraph a day. At first it felt laughable, almost too easy, but he kept at it day after day. After a year, those paragraphs became chapters. After 2 years, he had his first completed manuscript, and eventually, his book was published and went on to inspire thousands. The big dream happened not because of one giant leap, but because of hundreds of small, consistent steps. This story isn't just about writing, it's about everything in life. If you want to get fit, don't focus on running a marathon. Focus on walking around the block. If you want to build a business, don't focus on making millions. Focus on reaching your first customer. If you want to improve your relationships, don't focus on being perfect. Focus on showing up today with kindness and patience. Every great success story is nothing more than a collection of small actions done consistently. Here's the part that many people overlook. Motivation doesn't always come first. People wait until they feel ready to begin. But the truth is, motivation often follows action, not the other way around. When you take one small step, no matter how tiny, you create momentum. That momentum fuels your motivation, and that motivation fuels the next step. Action creates clarity, while waiting only creates doubt. So if you're listening to this right now, I want you to pause for a moment and ask yourself, what's the one small action you can take today that your future self will thank you for? Don't think about tomorrow or next week. Think about today. Maybe it's sending that message you've been delaying. Maybe it's reading just 2 pages of a book. Maybe it's putting aside a small amount of money. Maybe it's spending 10 minutes in silence with your own thoughts. It doesn't matter how small it looks. What matters is that you begin. 1. Because one day, when you look back, you'll realize that those small steps weren't small at all. They were everything. They were the hidden foundation of your success. The bricks that built your future. The drops of water that carved your destiny. Greatness is not found in one grand moment. Greatness is hidden in the ordinary, repeated quietly, until it becomes extraordinary. Imagine standing in front of 2 doors. Behind the first door is the path of instant gratification. It's easy, it's comfortable, and it gives you pleasure right now. Junk food, endless scrolling, procrastination, excuses. Behind the second door is the path of small, disciplined actions. It's not glamorous, it's not instantly rewarding, but every step builds strength, focus, and resilience. Most people choose the first door because the reward is immediate. But the true winners in life, the ones who achieve health, wealth, happiness, and success, are the ones who choose the second door, again and again, until small actions turn into extraordinary results. The book Small Actions. Great Results reminds us that discipline doesn't mean punishment. It means alignment. It means choosing actions today that align with the future you want to create. When you live with discipline, you're not restricting your freedom. You're unlocking it. Think about it. The person who saves consistently has the freedom to make choices later. The person who takes care of their health has the freedom to live longer with energy and strength. The person who learns a little every day has the freedom to think clearly and make better decisions. Discipline through small actions doesn't trap you. It sets you free. Let's go deeper into why small actions matter so much. Human beings are wired to adapt to their environment. That's why habits are powerful. They shape your environment from the inside out. Your brain loves patterns. When you repeat an action enough times, your brain starts doing it automatically, saving energy. This is why bad habits can feel so hard to break. They become deeply programmed. But here's the good news. The same wiring that creates bad habits can also be used to create good ones. By starting small, you trick your brain into accepting the change without resistance. You bypass the excuses, the fear, the self-doubt, because the action is so easy, so small, that it feels almost effortless. But once repeated, that small habit becomes a part of who you are. Take the example of someone who wants to start meditating. If they set a goal to meditate for an hour every morning, they'll likely quit after a few days. But if they commit to just 2 minutes of breathing each morning, it's so small that it's impossible to fail. Over time, those 2 minutes turn into 5, then 10, then 20. Before they know it, meditation is not just something they do. It's part of who they are. That's the magic of starting small. Now let's talk about the power of compounding. We often think of compounding in terms of money, where your investments grow over time. But compounding applies to everything. Your skills compound. Your knowledge compounds. Your health compounds. Your relationships compound. Every small action you take is like adding a little interest to your future. If you read for 15 minutes a day, you may not notice much at first. But after a year, you've read several books. After 5 years, you've consumed more knowledge than most people do in a lifetime. If you save just a little money consistently, it may not feel like much today, but over decades, it can transform into financial freedom. Compounding is invisible in the short term, but undeniable in the long term. Here's something powerful to remember. Success is not built in sudden explosions of effort. Success is built in silence, when no one is watching. It's built when you choose to go for a walk instead of lying down. It's built when you put away your phone and focus on learning. It's built when you stay consistent even when the results aren't visible. The people you admire, the athletes, the leaders, the creators, didn't get there by accident. They mastered the art of small, consistent actions. But there's another layer to this lesson, one that goes beyond habits. Small actions don't just change your results. They change your story.